So, Dr. Pelly, you are a psychoanalyst. Does reflective parenting has anything to do with psychoanalysis?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay. Yes. In our groups, we never call it psychoanalysis. We never call it therapy. People don't come to us because they want therapy, but it is therapeutic. And all of the ideas of reflective parenting are grounded in the principles of psychoanalysis, same principles. Um, and those are that the mind operates non-consciously most of the time, and so that what we're doing and what we're saying is influenced in large part by things that are outside of our conscious awareness. And even, I mean, at least from the way I think about psychoanalysis, one of the principles is the past lives on in the present. And this is what we talk about in our groups, how our own childhood experiences, the ways we were parented, the things that happened to us within our families, still sit there within us, and they influence how we're parenting our children. So it's very steeped, it's very steeped in psychoanalytic ideas. And finally, this concept of being reflective, which I've used, I call it reflective capacity, but it goes by a lot of different names. Peter Fonagy is the one who coined this term, reflective function, which is what we call reflective capacity or reflective thinking or just being reflective. It's a more user-friendly way of talking about it. But actually, he originally coined the term mentalization. And so the idea of being reflective is the same concept that Fonagy uses in his mentalization-based treatment for borderline personality disorder. We never call it mentalization because, well, it's too mental, And so that's the three ways that I think of it as being connected to psychoanalysis. And so we were actually really talking about parents' unconscious. Their unconscious assumptions, helping parents identify what their unconscious assumptions are about why their children are behaving the way they are, and then asking parents to go that next step. And we ask parents to say things. We ask parents questions like if we're talking about discipline, we might say to a parent, "So what do you know from your own upbringing about discipline?" And then parents can talk about that. Or we had one mother who really had a hard time separating from her child. I mean, her child was 12, and she still would not let her child go over to anybody's house to play. 12. And we talked to the mother about, so what do you know about separating, being independent, parents and children being independent? And then she got in touch with this whole trauma of her life that her mother left her in El Salvador, went to the United States, and she had her own abandonment experiences. And even though she eventually reunited with her mom, had a very good relationship, early on she had these terrible abandonment experiences. And so that was what she was playing out with her son, never to let her son leave her, right? So that's how it's very connected to psychoanalysis. And I think it's a great way, and this is why I am so grateful to the New Center for creating this affiliation between us, because it's really a way to bring psychoanalytic ideas out into the community.
It really reflects how our mind is informed by our unconscious.
Exactly. Something I wish everyone would recognize, right?
Some of what you talk about sounds a lot like the interventions used with borderline personality, as you mentioned.
Absolutely. And actually, I think the fact that it's used with that this mentalization-based treatment is basically teaching and helping people with borderline personality disorder to develop this reflective muscle, so to speak, and to understand that actions are derived from mental experiences rather than just concrete actions. And so what that illustrates is that patients with borderline personality disorder have impairments in this mentalization ability, this reflective capacity. And that's what underlies so many of the problems they have. It just proves my point. Why being reflective is so important, and why it's so important for parents to be that way with their kids. That's how it's connected to psychoanalysis.
Yet another fascinating fact
Thank you.
about being reflective.
Yes.